Here it comes again. You may be wondering why this guy wants to talk taxes on a Saturday. That's right, it's Saturday, and I'm gonna choose to talk about taxes. That's because honestly, the more I do tax work with clients, the more I see how easy it can be to save for people. So we are putting together a program that's gonna outline all the concepts that you can pull together and start analyzing and make sure you're taking advantage of the right ones for you. Let's get started on this. We are calling this thing the Tax Planning Toolbox. What this is gonna have not all your tools. You can't fit all your tools in this box, but what you can do is fit the main ones that you, a realtor, are gonna need to be considering. And we're gonna look at the main ones today. But what we absolutely wanna be sure of here is that we have these at our disposal. The key is understanding the use for each of them, the timing with which you need to deploy them, and whether they fit into the plan you have for yourself. And you need to sit down and diagnose that stuff to understand it. So we've got it pulled up now. We've got our hammers, we've got our screwdrivers, we've got our drills, we've got everything else we need in there. All the key components we need to make sure we're ready to get the job done and get the job done right. In level one, you got your W-2 and simple income. That's gonna be much easier to plan for. Most people can wrap their head around that and the taxes that are gonna result from that and how to plan for them. Then you have your post-tax and pre-tax retirement accounts. Those are your 401ks, your IRAs. The strategy behind those is gonna be much more complicated. But if you have a simple situation, that's something you can wrap your head around without needing too much extra help. And then for this iteration of our toolbox, rounding out level one, we have our HSA and our brokerage accounts. These are both gonna have very meaningful tax impacts in very different ways. Both of them are going to be very important to helping you build wealth over time, but they can be simple to get started on your own. Now, as we cross into level two concepts, what we're going to want to drive home here is that you're going to need to have some financial know-how or sit down with an expert of some kind to make sure you're rolling these things out right. You can definitely do them on your own, but you need to be sitting down with someone who can help you set up the right foundation for these concepts. And depending on how big and complicated you get, all of these could easily roll into a level three situation. So what are we really talking about here? 1099 income. If you don't get a W-2, you're not an employee at a business somewhere, and you're getting income that you got to account for on your own and build income statements, you definitely need to be planning for that. Home office and vehicles. Something you can definitely do on your own down the line, but you want to make sure you set these things up right so you're getting the max deductions and not opening yourself up to liabilities for doing them wrong. Tax credits, child tax credits, other education credits, you name it. There's a number of them, but you want to be sure you understand how they work and how you can go about getting them, when you qualify for them, and how they fit into an overall tax plan. Then you have things like itemized deductions. Now we're talking about charitable deductions. We're talking about the state and local taxes you pay. We're talking about your mortgage interest and those out-of-pocket health insurance costs you have. Those are the four key items that are gonna roll into your itemized deductions. You need to make sure you know how they fit together. You're gonna need to talk to somebody about that to make sure you understand how it works. Insurance, another item. It could be level one once you understand it, but you wanna make sure you're setting these things up right. Make sure you're talking to somebody if you're unsure how to get it set up properly. The last one we have in level two is investment strategy. This is rolling up from level one really, but once you're starting to strategize around how you can minimize taxes, what's right for you, you need to be sitting down with someone. This is easily going to become a level three item as well, where you need to plan these things out over multiple years into retirement to make sure you're maximizing your taxes over your lifetime, if that's where your head's at. And finally, we're gonna hop our 2 feet right into level three. And by and large, this is where you are going to need somebody at your side to make sure you're navigating these things over time properly. Simply because paying for someone to partner with you on this stuff and making sure you're in the right spot on these things is going to have a return that you cannot get on your own. You just really need to be working with someone who knows what they're doing on this stuff. So the first one here in level three is very easy. Once you're in a business structure, considering a business structure, for a realtor, that's gonna be the S-corp. You see that at the bottom of level three, but that is what we're talking about. Once you're considering these things, you need to not only be planning for them a little bit during the year, but you need to be considering them multiple times during the year. Make sure you're hitting the right compliance marks and ultimately getting the maximum value out of the structure you've chosen. Again, the S-corp will be the typical one that we're looking for tax savings for a realtor, but we need to be considering what is right for you based on your income situation and all your other factors. The other main one I want to point out here is real estate investing. Again, we're talking about rental properties. Once you're owning real estate for rental and investment purposes, you need to have an advisor at your side to make sure all the marks are hitting right. your depreciation. There's so many factors you can be considering. How to set up your income statements and your financial strategy appropriately so you're capturing all your deductions, everything looks right and makes taxes easy, and you get views of your financials that help you push the needle forward. We won't get too deep into the rest of the items here, but estate planning. Installment sales, which is essentially structuring an asset sale to be paid off over time. Timing of income and expenses is a big thing. Can you push an expense or an income into a future year, pull it into the current year that makes sense for your overall tax situation and saves you tax year over year? And then of course your retirement strategy is a long-term deal. You need to be considering that each and every year to make sure you're putting money in the right spots. This is just an introduction of the toolbox that we're going to be talking about consistently going forward. We're going to look at different situations and elements that come forth with different numbers so that we can see when these tools need to be brought forth, when they might be useful to you, and you can start to see when you build a whole tax planning picture that makes sense based on your needs and goals, how much the tax savings can really start flowing in and really work for itself over time. Come back next time, we're going to start looking at some level 1 scenarios where we can start looking at easy concepts where you can see where decisions need to start being made, how you can make them on your own, and perhaps when it's right to maybe get a little expert tax advice from somebody you trust. Thanks for joining. Make sure you come back next time, and the time after that, and the time after that, and the time after that. We're going to be learning a lot. You are going to get value out of this. I'm looking forward to the next one. Talk soon.